Hello and welcome back to the Critical Thinking channel. Now, I just thought I'd go through a few things that will be happening, in the discussion. Sometimes I might bring a friend in or something to discuss the news events, etc. But just to give you a view of the main thrust of what critical thinking is basically we're going to look at the news stories, like things like the Ukraine conflict, the mRNA vaccines, for instance, strikes, the government's attack on workers' rights, the NHS underfunding social care. Now, these are some of the most important things in the news at the moment, and we'll be sort of taking a look at them, but in a different way. So we'll be seeing what the media says, and then looking into things like, for instance, in the Ukraine conflict. I mean, are we really getting the true side? Are we just getting Ukraine's side because that's the side that the West has decided to support? And how these things are given to us and completely out of context. So, for instance, for 8 years, the Western media was warning us of Nazis in Ukraine. And then in February, when Russia went in and said, well, we're going in to, deal with these Nazis, suddenly the media stopped reporting about Nazis in Ukraine. Now, I can't quite get my head around that. But that needs to be, talked about, and we need to sort of look at it a bit more deeply. And then we've got the mRNA vaccines. Now, over the course of time, well, it's just mind-blowing. We were told they're safe and effective. We were told they're fully tested. They were invented within a year. The previous vaccines that have been tried like this had never worked. And then, well, it's just, we were told they were 95% effective. I think we're now down to 30% effective. Some experts are questioning if there's any if they're effective at all. In fact, the latest study by Medix, I think it was saying that with each vaccination you have, you're more likely to catch COVID. So it actually rises. I mean, I will try, and when I've worked out how to work the channel, I'll try and put the some of these latest studies up for people to look at. But there's just so much. Well, it's beyond words. I mean, we were told so many things down the line, like, have a jab, protect granny. Well, then Pfizer admitted in the European Court that, well, the transmission wasn't even tested in the trials. In fact, what I've since learned is that the only thing that was tested in the trials was that you produce antibodies, right? So if you inject someone with saline solution, which is basically salt water, they will produce antibodies. There is no evidence that those antibodies will do anything to protect you against the disease. So it's not science. Anyway, this is something else. The other thing must be talked. I mean, we've got the government now getting more authoritarian. They've gone, now going after workers' rights, which they've always wanted to get rid of anyway. They wanted to get rid of human rights. Well, if you haven't got human rights, it's a worrying slope. That's what happened before in 1930s Germany, when there were no human rights. They were actually brought into being because of what happened in Germany. So there's another bit of critical thinking. Well, the NHS is this is one of the most amazing things about this country. We were clapping nurses a few weeks ago. Now they're talking about going on strike because their pay is so low. If we can't even pay our nurses a decent wage to live on, what sort of country are we? But we've got footballers earning £200,000 a week. I mean, sorry, but it's insane. And we have to start thinking critically. Something's very wrong with our society. And then we go on to social care. Well, we're all going to get old, and I'm not that far from it. And what the hell are we going to do? Are we going to find like old people just living homeless in the streets? Do people not think, hello, that could be me one day. So this is the sort of thing we'll be discussing, and I will go into these details on each subject individually, but it's going to take a little bit of preparation work. So yeah, I hope that's of interest, and I think you can make some comments on the video if you let me know anything you want to talk about, anything you might know that I don't know. So it's a case of critically thinking about what we're told mainly through the media and from very dodgy politicians, and then we think about it and we double check it, and this is what critical thinking is. And you don't just accept at face value what you're told. You basically use a scientific method. So you use reason, logic, common sense, investigation, study, repeated study, and constantly have a skepticism. Now that is science. So anyway, I hope that there's lots of you out there that want to start thinking critically. We've got to come together, and together we can hopefully change things for the better. So see you soon. Take care.